Here I am at the WMAES Meadow. It's a great habitat for lots of different animals. It's got tall grasses, some trees. It's surrounded by lots and lots of large trees, nut-bearing trees that are great for little squirrels. And what do we have here?
Hey, Miss Holly.
Hi, Mr. Sean. What are you doing?
Well, I was out here earlier and I found this deer bed laying here, so I thought, what better place to take a little snooze than
Oh,
a deer
yeah.
bed.
That looks really soft.
Well, I can tell that it's a deer bed. Now, I laid this down here, but you can see how, when this wasn't here, the grasses were all laid down. So during the day or evening hours, the deer will come out here and just kind of snooze and relax. And then during the nighttime, they'll come out and forage when people aren't around.
Wow. Did you have a nice little nap, Mr. Sean?
It was a nice snooze.
Awesome.
All right, so the first animal we're going to talk about today is the white-tailed deer. Now I have a white-tailed deer fur here and skull. We've got a lot of deer out here at the school. But I know that this deer that I have in my hand is a male deer. The male white-tailed deer are the only ones that grow the antlers. The females do not. So whether we see the signs of them in the beds right there, there's other signs also. Sometimes we can look to see if there's some deer prints, deer scat, browse lines. So they just kind of walk the trails. And believe it or not, they do walk these trails that we're on here today. They'll walk the trails and nibble on some of the branches along the way. And they also rub their antlers on tree bark just to let all the other deer in the neighborhood know that this is their territory. So they'll use these to scrape off some of the bark. Hopefully on our little walk today, we might be able to even find some.
What you got there, Miss Holly?
Why, Mr. Sean, I'm glad you asked. I'm holding a coyote skin. And we got this coyote skin from a local conservation officer. So we did not hunt any of these animals that you're going to see today. We know that we have coyotes here at West Michigan Academy of Environmental Science because we've heard them. We found their scat, we found their tracks, and sometimes we even find remnants of their meal. So the coyotes here at West Michigan Academy are the top predators. They eat rodents and rabbits and help keep the population in check. We've also seen them down by the pond, so keep your eyes open. They're not dangerous, they won't hurt you, and it's a real treat to see these things. All right, here we have the coyote skull, and you can tell it's a predator because of those teeth. They've got these canine teeth, which are used for ripping and tearing of the flesh of their prey, and then the incisors, which are all sharp and pointy, used for grinding the meat. We also know that this is a predator because of their eyes. Their eyes face forward on their head, and they've got this thing right here called the sagittal crest, which is where the muscle attached to their bottom jaw attaches so that they can chomp, chomp, chomp. Pretty cool.
All right, so we're standing on the edge of the meadow right now, and I just saw a hawk land right there on top of the trees. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, the dead tree.
Oh, I see it.
You see him?
Yeah, let me see if I can.
There he is. So we're actually going to be releasing a hawk here in a little bit, so maybe he'll have a friend.
Oh, there he is, right there.
Yeah.
Nice eyes, Mr. Sean. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So as I was saying, this forest around this meadow is a perfect place for birds of prey and other birds to nest. It provides them a place to perch and nest, and then also the meadow gives them an area to hunt other, small mammals and rodents that might be running around here in the grasses. So as we're on our walk today, pay attention, listen for some cool birds. Listen and look around for some of the other insects that are going to be making noises throughout the meadow. So you can hear some of the birds in the background. Oh, I think I see a fox. What?
Hi, Sean, I was just playing some camouflage.
Nice.
Yeah. So here we have a red fox, and this area right here is the fox's habitat because we have seen the fox come in and out of the forest and run up and down this trail numerous times. It's usually the quietest class that gets to see that. So this red fox is also a predator. It's got the sharp teeth. There's that hawk.
Yeah.
We, again, have seen it. We know it's here because of its tracks. excuse me, and it blends in really well during the fall when it's able to camouflage with the leaves and the changing grass colors. So keep your eyes open for a red fox. You can find them in neighborhoods. They're even walking around the city.
All right, so remember earlier I was talking about browse lines and the way that some of the animals use the trails here? Well, right here would be a great example of a trail that a deer might use, and they would actually nibble on these blackberries. Now they don't look like blackberries right now because they're just starting to grow, but another couple weeks these things would be nice, big, ripe, juicy berries that the deer just love. And the cool thing about this plant is they use animals like the deer to help spread their seeds. So the deer might browse on this and eat some of these berries, walk down the trail a few hundred feet, maybe go to the bathroom tomorrow or something like that, and boom, you got a new plant growing right where that deer went to the bathroom. So it also works with birds. Birds are really important seed dispersal animals. So pay attention to the kinds of berries that you might see when you're out here walking. Remember, don't eat the berries unless you know for sure what kind of berry it is. Not all berries are edible.
What you looking at there, Mr. Sean?
All right, remember how I was talking about how some of these plants get eaten by the deer and other animals out here? Well, plants need some sort of defense mechanism also to help prevent them from being eaten down to the ground. So a lot of the plants you're going to find out here have some sort of thorn or pricker on them that'll make it a little bit tricky for the deer and other animals that might eat them to eat them. So in this case, we've got, a centimeter thorn on here. So you can imagine if you're a deer trying to come in here and browse some of these fresh shoots that might be coming out, they might want to eat this stuff. But if they get too close, they're going to get poked in the nose and it's going to hurt. Hey.
I found some interesting plants here. This is called Dogbane. It's a member of the milkweed family. And this is last year's seeds. These seeds are really awesome. They've got their own little dispersal mechanism built right in. On a nice windy day, the seeds are just taken away, floated down to the ground, and then plant themselves. So this is last year's plant. You can see it's all brown and dried up, and this is this year's plant. This plant's really cool when it's dried up because you can use this plant to make some rope. In fact, this is how the Native Americans used to make rope, by using this plant. Also by using some different varieties of trees. But I'm going to show you in a video later how you can make some rope with this Dogbane. Now, Mr. Sean, a whole patch of milkweed. And earlier I had talked about how milkweed and Dogbane were in the same family, but you can tell the difference. Milkweed has really big, thick leaves. They're alternate leaves running up the stem, and then they have nice, big clusters of flowers. And when these things bloom, they're bright pink and they smell delicious. This is a great plant. In fact, the only plant that a monarch butterfly caterpillar will eat. And so they eat this. They go through 5 stages. Eventually, they'll form a chrysalis, sit in that chrysalis for about 10 days, and then hatch into a beautiful monarch butterfly, which is also a wonderful pollinator.
I'm Dr. Rebecca Vincent from the Wildlife Rehab Center, and the guys here at the West Michigan Academy of Environmental Science have been kind enough to let go some of our rehabilitated animals. And so today, our first little batch here, these are baby cottontails. They lost their mother when they were too young to fend for themselves. They're still small, but they are big enough to feed themselves, and this is the area that they would like to live in. They're actually found about a mile from here.
All right.
So, we'll open the door and see if they want to go. You see them?
Pretty stinking cute.
All right, guys, what do you think? Come on, here we go. There's one. There you go. You can do it.
Oh, and they're old enough to live on their own?
Yep. They would be away from their mom.
Now, will these guys stay together for any length of time? Or are they gonna go their own separate way at this point?
No, they're pretty independent. They're gonna go their own way. And they're all
Very cool.
Hi everybody, this is a juvenile red-tailed hawk. He injured his flight feathers on one of his wings. It kept him from flying very well. He ended up skinny. There was nothing really physically wrong with him. So we brought him in, and he's actually been at Blandford Nature Center for the last week and a half, building his strength and getting fat as his feathers grow back in. And he is definitely ready to be free.
So, wow. Look at that. How cool.
Ready to go.
Yes, this one's been chomping at the bit.
All right, so what do we have here?
All right, so this is an American kestrel. It's a young one. It flew into a window, knocked itself silly. So for the last couple of weeks, it's been rehabilitating. It's been in the flight corridor at Blandford Nature Center as well. And it appears to be perfect and ready to go.
Oh. Super cool.
Hi everybody, it's Miss Holly here on my front porch, and I'm here to show you how to make rope or cordage out of this plant that we just talked to you about, Dogbane. Sometimes also referred to as Indian hemp. What you do is you use the plant's fibers. You have to take it off this plant, but you use the plant's fibers, inner fibers, to weave the materials into a piece of rope. So I'm going to do a time-lapse video so you can see that happen. First things first, you do have to do a little bit of stomping on this plant before you start. So let me show you what to do next. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break this plant up. So I'm going to step on it until it pops. And what it's doing is it's popping open. Or it's popping into 4 pieces. And you can't really use this part because of the branches. So I'm gonna break that off. But you wanna try to keep it as long as you can. So now I've got it broke into 2 pieces here. You can actually see the 4 pieces, or the outer bark. And this piece, these 2 pieces right here show the pith. And what we're after is, you can see that little piece there that kind of looks like a hair. We're after that. We want to collect all those pieces together. But we want to try to keep it in one long piece for each of these. So when we end up, we'll have 4 long pieces of the inner bark ready. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these pieces and we're going to pop the pith and pull it off. I'm popping the pith. I can hear it snap. And I'm removing the pith and the stem. Inner part's called the pith, and then the outer part is the stem, but I'm taking off the pith. See how it's going? Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us on our hike throughout the meadow. I just wanted to point out this open field here, which is full of all these different types of clovers. Also got some dandelions peppered in here. Clovers and dandelions are important species to have at your house, in a field, in a place like this, because they're early plants that grow that are great opportunity for early pollinators that come out. We need pollinators. This meadow is a great place for pollinators. So try not to cut down all your weeds. Remember that some weeds are good. In fact, a weed is a plant whose virtue has yet to be discovered.